Hello guys, welcome back to From Tennis to Pickleball. Today we're looking at the Luzz Pro 4 Inferno. Now you guys may be asking, John, why are you doing the Luzz Inferno? The Inferno 2 just came out. That's what we want to see. Well, for two reasons. One, I just don't have the Inferno 2. I didn't pre-order it. But two, Luzz actually reached out to me, and they are wanting to send me the whole Luzz collection that they have coming out, as well as all their newer paddles. That's being this Inferno, which is obviously about a year old at this point, the Glider, and the Inferno 2. And for right now, all I have is the Inferno. Now, full disclosure, because they did send me this paddle, they did ask me to do a review. Now, they did not ask me to do a positive review. They wanted an honest review, if I liked it or not, and I can do whatever I want with it. And if you do like it, I do have a discount code with them. It's code FTTP. I'll put it on screen here. Now, before you think I'm shilling for them or I'm just here to make money, I'm giving you guys full honest review. It's not all positives, okay? As much as I do enjoy this paddle, really the aesthetic, I would say, is my favorite part. This thing looks sick. There are some pros and cons to it, and we're going to go over that in today's video. First off, I do want to start with the feel of this paddle. This was my favorite part, and by feel, I literally mean when you hit the ball, it feels like you're grabbing a saltine cracker, and you're just kind of snapping it in half, you know? It's just, or you're crushing it with your hands. I don't know how else to describe it, but just crisp. The feel is really, really good. It's just satisfying. Now, is it you're super connected to the ball? Not necessarily. My personal paddle of choice right now is the Sparta Spitfire. After I made my previous review on it, if you guys haven't checked it out, I'll leave a little annotation here, or you can check out the channel. But that is my current paddle of choice while I'm making this video. And that one, I feel more connected to the ball. I feel like that paddle is like an extension of my arm. This one, I do not feel that. However, this one still has a very predictable feel. So when you do hit the ball, it feels like the directional control of this paddle is just amazing. It is top tier. If you have a ball coming at you super fast and you just turn it, wherever you want to go, it just feels like this paddle will not be the reason you miss your target most of the time. It is a very exceptional feel. The crisp response is extremely nice. And as far as the dwell goes, I would say it's almost non-existent. But even regardless, this doesn't have a stiff feel or anything. It feels awesome. So if you end up liking or disliking the paddle, you're not going to dislike it because of the feel. I personally just think it feels awesome. This also leads to the balance of the paddle. So most paddles you get typically feel a little head heavy or a little head light. This one, it feels like a perfect balance, as weird as that sounds. My Spitfire, for example, is leaning, it was super light when I got it, right? It was very head light. I added some weight to it to make it closer to balance, but slightly heavier towards, the upper part of it, compared to the handle side. And I typically like that because I like to drive the ball pretty fast, a lot of top spin. This paddle doesn't have any sort of feel one way or another. It feels perfectly balanced. And honestly, I prefer it this way. I did try it adding a little bit of weight up here, on both sides, just to see if I liked a little bit more head heavy. I didn't add down here because the sweet spot on this thing is very generous, and I feel like that really wouldn't have done a whole lot aside from just add weight as a whole to the paddle. So I did put it a little bit higher here. And while I did get a little more, head heaviness, it really didn't affect my actual swing in a positive way. It felt like instead of getting more thump in the ball, it just slowed me down. I did not even feel much of a power difference. Now, if I'd put it up all the way at the top here, I'm sure I'd get a little bit of a power difference, but it's already pretty generous on power as is. So I don't think that's going to improve a whole lot for you. It didn't for me, at least. And the feel of the paddle, it's got a unique feel on the driving side. We'll go into that here in just a short bit. Dinks and drops. So that is where I would say this paddle falls short. Again, it's not incredibly short though. Like I do want to say this is a pretty good paddle overall, but if I had to give it a weakness, dinks and drops. And it's not even that it's bad per se, but because the feel is so different and you don't feel as connected to the ball as you would some other paddles, it is an adjustment for sure. The first day I played with this paddle, I got to play against some 5-0 guys, pretty good. And if they brought me to the kitchen line, I was struggling to keep that ball low to where they couldn't attack it. It was pretty bad. Now, I will say after the first day with this thing, and I mean probably 3 or 4 hours in, I finally started getting more of a hang of it. Honestly, drops were not too bad. This thing, despite having normal grit, so it doesn't have durable grit. That's one thing I want to say as well. It doesn't have crazy grit, like a lot of the newer paddles coming out. I think even the new Inferno 2 has some type of durable grit on it. This has, to my knowledge, just normal grit on it. The spin was generous, so spin was not an issue with this. So my drops were not too bad. Dinks, however, it's just so different with that response, man. It's just so different. So first day, maybe first week you play with this thing, your dinks are probably going to be atrociously bad unless you just bump them barely over, and you're just trying to barely bump it and play really safe. But trying to hit aggressive dinks or try to do a little more with it, you're going to have problems at first. But you'll get used to it. I got used to it after like my second or third day, and it feels nice. And I've been using this a lot. I haven't even touched the Spitfire since I got used to this thing because honestly, it feels good. I like the crisp response. But yeah, weakest part, definitely dinks and drops. And really drops, not so much. Just the dinking, I would say, is probably one of the worst parts about this. So another thing that was a bit different and honestly something I'm still getting used to is the way the ball comes off this paddle, specifically on drives. So what I'm used to, like I've mentioned before, is the Spitfire. It has a bunch of like thump. Like whenever you swing that paddle into the ball, it feels like all of your kinetic energy you've put into that paddle just explodes into the ball and it just flies into the court. This paddle, I've noticed, even with adding weight, and I'm sure if I added like an excessive amount, it would do this, but even with adding weight to it, whenever I fully swing at the ball, I still feel like this paddle absorbs some of like your energy you're putting into it, and it doesn't quite put all you put into it. Now, is this to say that it does hit weak? Not necessarily. I would say it still hits hard, but it doesn't hit top tier hard. Like it's a power paddle, but not like a top 10 driving paddle. Like for example, if you have like, let's say a boomstick or even the Aura Pro, I used the Aura Pro for a few months and I can just rip the crap out of the ball with those. Even that Owl paddle, I still have the Owl paddle. Love drives on that thing, man. This one, I do enjoy it, but I can't expect the same type of results just because the way this is designed, something to do with the core of it. It is a full foam paddle, but it kind of absorbs a little bit of your pace. Now, thankfully, this paddle is pretty light feeling, so like even though you're swinging hard, I don't think you're going to get tired because you're not swinging a bat or anything and getting a little return. You're just not going to get quite as much on your drives as you might some other paddles. But I do want to reiterate, it still does hit hard, and it hits hard enough for sure on drives. You're just probably not going to outdrive your opponent if they're using another paddle that can just drive harder. There's just better driving options. But it is still good, still pretty generous top spin. You can still mix it up with just hitting top spin drops, and you still have really good accuracy with this thing. Again, the crisp responsiveness makes it very accurate, at least for me. I don't know. It could just be a feel preference thing, but it's good. It's still good drives, but just don't expect to just overwhelm your opponent with drives most of the time. This is the best part about this paddle, the net game. It feels amazing. So because of the lightweight nature of this paddle and its kind of balanced, weight to it where it's not too head light or too head heavy, it feels very stable at the net. But it also feels very light, so it's very fast to swing. And hands battles of this thing have improved dramatically for me, at least. I typically use a paddle that is slightly more head heavy. Not a lot, but a little bit, just because I really like to drive the ball. However, doubles pickleball, which is the most popular way, is very primarily net based. So when I come to the net with this thing, I enjoy the hands battles a lot more than I do with any other paddle that I typically use. And yeah, I think this is by far the best part of this, whether it be overheads, normal volleys, counters, flicks, rolls, whatever. This paddle seems well equipped to take care of all of those. So if you're big on net game and you like hands battles, I think you're going to love this. Serves and returns with this paddle they're decent and they're nothing crazy. I would say the serves are pretty good just because it's a light paddle and it still does give you quite a bit of power. You don't even have to try to put a lot of effort into your serve swing because, like I mentioned in the drive part, it does absorb a little bit of your power, so you're not going to get every little bit you would have put into it. However, if you aim deep with this thing, it does have the grit on it, and it does have enough power to give you a pretty consistent deep serve. Same with returns. As long as you keep your your swing consistent and you follow through with your ball, serves and returns should not be an issue at all with this paddle. So if I had to give it, like something that's necessarily bad per se, I would say resets are it. And I'm mainly talking about resets off of a lot of pace. Not so much like you're in a defensive position and they're keeping you back at the baseline and you have to drop it back. I think this can do that just fine. But if somebody slams the ball at you and you can get your paddle there to react, it's a little bit harder to nullify the ball with this. And I think it's just because, one, it's got a very generous sweet spot, which is nice, but because of the way it kind of nullifies some of your power, it's kind of hard to dial in. So off a lot of pace to reset it, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment. Now, once you get used to it, it's not too bad, but it's still not as easy as like a boomstick. I feel like the boomstick is just a reset machine. Freaking love that thing for resets. That's still like my go-to consistency paddle. Despite being a power paddle, I just love it defensively. It's light and, it does a lot of work for you, which is cool. I mean, you're paying $300 for it. But this one, resets are definitely, I would say, it's Achilles heel. It's not bad. Again, it's just something to do with the feel and maybe even the weight. It might be a little bit different if you add a little weight on it. But I don't know. I would say if I had to give anything bad, it would be resets. Quick segment here on spin. So the actual grit on it, to my knowledge, is just raw carbon fiber. All the newer paddles are coming out with an enhanced grit, for DuraGrit. Last year, durable grit was not a big thing, but now everybody's using lifetime balls and they're killing everybody's grit, durable grit's becoming a big thing. So this doesn't have durable grit on it, to my knowledge. However, the spin that does come on it, still pretty nice. I've put in about 10 hours of gameplay on it now, and honestly, I don't feel much difference. Like, there's a little bit of roughness difference, like, when you first get it and it feels like sandpaper, like any new paddle. There's a little bit of a roughness difference, but like, as far as like when I'm playing with it, I don't notice any type of drop off in spin yet, or if there is, I guess it's very minimal. So, I mean, spin's pretty good, but again, no durable grit. So I'll leave that up to you on this. It's a little bit of a preference thing for that. The actual spin itself, though, as far as like how much it spins, honestly, feels pretty average, maybe slightly above average, but it's nothing crazy. It's no Spitfire spin. It's no Owl Talon X1 spin. It's nothing like bizarro crazy. Like, you're not going to hit the ball and be like, oh my God, that ball just did a double spiral in the air, but it's plenty spin. So if you're going for drops, drives, whatever, and you do have a very top-oriented game, the ball's going to drop plenty for you. Just want to go over singles a little bit real quick. I know it's not as popular of an option. However, because this channel is from tennis to pickleball, and a lot of tennis players do enjoy singles, I do want to give my opinion on this for singles. So I think it is a fantastic paddle, just due to the pure control aspect of it while still maintaining quite a bit of power. So as mentioned before, it does have a very crisp and a very good controlled response, meaning wherever you aim, you're probably going to hit it. The directional control left and right is fantastic, and I feel like depth-wise, I can get pretty consistent depth with this paddle. Again, you still have that issue with drives where, you're not getting like your full power. So if you're a tennis player and you're doing that full swing into it, it feels like it still takes a little bit away from you. But it's still generous enough to where you can win matches. It doesn't feel like you're playing with like a wide body or anything, but it doesn't feel like you're going to get the full thump of like the Spitfire or maybe the Boomstick, you know, like it's just a little bit less than the others, but still good crisp response, good control. One side note I do want to mention, because this thing doesn't quite have that same thump, one-handed backhands felt really strange with this. Because typically I use the racket head and accelerate it through contacts and follow through, and that helps get the height and pace I need. But I was struggling with that quite a bit on this. I had to focus more on height for my one-handed backhand because it absorbed some of the power. I had to actually aim higher and swing a little bit quicker, but not focus so much as thumping it, you know, as I do just going for more of a quick brush. And it does work once you get used to it. It does work. But for singles or even just one-handed backhands in general, it's definitely an adjustment, and you're going to notice it. Overall impressions on this paddle. So I think this paddle is fantastic for net game. In fact, this is probably my favorite one right now. Just the feel of it, the crisp response, the directional control, the lightweight nature to it. It just feels awesome at the net. Like, it's legit addicting. Like, beforehand, I typically don't try to start hands battles. I just try to, you know, hit the ball whenever I feel like I can win the point. But now I just want to start hands battles because this thing is just, it's so fun. And I feel like I'm winning a lot more using this. And again, it could be just due to the feel, but I like it. I think it's awesome. And the power is still generous. Again, not top tier, but it's pretty good. To my knowledge, this is Luzz's power paddle. The Inferno 2, they made more of an all-court to power paddle, even though that's what I feel like this is. But supposedly it has less power, but more durable grip. So hopefully here in the near future, I will be checking that out. But I would say this is a very solid paddle. Now, if y'all do want to get it, feel free to use my discount code at checkout on Luzz's website. It is FTTP, from tennis to pickleball, FTTP. And you'll get 15% off, which I think is higher than a lot of codes out there. I think a lot of them are 10%. So special shout out to Luzz for sending me this Inferno. They are also sending me a glider, which is what I believe a lot of pros have switched to lately. So I'm going to be doing a review on that here soon. And again, they sent this with no expectation of a positive review. They just wanted an honest review. So if you guys do think you will enjoy this paddle, feel free to go get it. Special shout out to Luzz for that. Be on the lookout for the glider and Inferno 2 review coming in the near future. And if you guys do have any paddles y'all would like me to check out, y'all let me know. And guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.